compared to last week. I can see clearly now, the pain is gone.
He has his eyesight back.
I'm not sitting here like, hi guys, how are we doing? Talk about our sponsors and what if I could see? Well, guess what? I can see. We're back. I finally found the eyelash that was stuck in my eyeball.
Right.
I wanted to cry because here's the thing, it was still connected and it just flipped under and was like scratching my eyeball a lot. So I had to pluck it by myself without tweezers by hand. I cried.
And in case we forgot to tell you this, welcome to the Caffeinated podcast, where positivity is the goal, but chaos is the process. See, I stole his line. What'd y'all think about that?
Well, guys, he still didn't finish it because I'm BUBBZI and he's the beard.
What's up, guys?
That's right.
It's been another, would you say, kind of a crazy week at the bearded household, Bubs?
When is it not? But yes.
True. We have our ups and downs. We have our, we're like everybody else. Everything kind of goes. And before we get into talking about the sponsors a little bit, BUBBZI and I want to go ahead and do this real quick and let you all know that BUBBZI is going to be out of town. And so we're going to take a week, maybe two, and just kind of recuperate. It may be a little bit longer that we may even take, but we haven't decided exactly yet. But we wanted you all to know that we're going to take a little break, but then we'll be back energized, more caffeinated than ever, and ready to go. And depending on how long we go, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, all that. But we do have another show coming up next week. So there is one more show before we're going to take a break. So we just thought we'd let you know.
Yeah. Part of it's my fault, I will admit. But also part of it is part of, the holidays. Holidays are obviously... Yes. Everyone is crazy. We obviously have a difficult time just recording sometimes anyway on just a weekly basis just because things happen. Yes. But the holidays just amplify that. But like I said, you have this episode and you have next week's episode. I will be out of town the following week. And then obviously the next weekend is Thanksgiving and we normally have to go visit family.
We travel a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of traveling. So we're discussing at least a 2-week break. And it may go further, just depending on holiday schedules and things like that, because things are still being discussed.
BUBBZI and I are going to sit down. We're really going to talk about it between this show and the next show. So when we come next week, we will know exactly how long we're going to take off.
Yes.
Call it the end of season 1 if you want, and then we'll be back with season 2, however you want to say it. But we wanted to let you all know we're also at the same time letting the sponsors know that we're just taking a little bit of a break. And they knew it was coming, because they have to do the same thing for the holidays as well. Mm-hmm. So, but speaking of the sponsors, and I don't want to take too much time beating it up because, again, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
You all know that we have a couple of really great sponsors. This week, we're highlighting CustomBeardCo, also known as CBC. Now, the question is, do you love your beard? Or do you love someone who has a beard? Do you love high-quality beard and skincare products? Well, then you finally come to the right place. Here at CBC, you matter. CBC makes high-quality beard oils, beard butters, beard balms, and whipped body butters for your beard and your skincare regimen. They make custom scents such as the Outlaw, which is my favorite at the moment, the Executor, Forest Frost, and others. They also rotate other custom scents in from time to time just to make you, the customer, happy and excited. Now, all products at CustomBeardCo are 100% organic and contain no chemicals. They contain no dyes, and everything is made to order. Now, what does that mean? It means that it's not sitting around on a shelf. It's not hanging out in the warehouse. When you order it, it is made, and then it comes directly to you as fast as they can get it ready, and they provide free shipping to go with it. Now, I do have to put a warning on this. CustomBeardCo uses 100% all natural ingredients, which even though it has no chemicals, may still cause skin irritation for, some with more sensitive skin. So the suggestion is when you get some, try it on a sensitive spot like the inside of your elbow or something like that, or the inside of your forearm, and see what happens before you go full facial or full body with the body butter. I will say this, though, you're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. BUBBZI and I both are just overwhelmed by the quality and the smell. And BeardCo, I want to thank you for all the compliments that I've gotten that says, you know, Beard, you sure do smell good. So thank you all for that.
I will say he does use a lot more than I do in most cases, because obviously my whatever this is still slightly coming in and not growing as well as I wish it would. But definitely head over to CustomBeardCo.com, check out the awesome products, grab some for yourself or as a gift, and at checkout, use the code CaffeinatedBeard and get 15% off any order above $15.
Any order $15 more. We actually did a good ad, guys. What do you know? We're getting better at this, I think.
You know what it was? I talked less. That's what it was.
Nah, it's not that. And the simple thing is that, guys, and please don't forget about Coffeetarian, .store. Don't forget to stop by there. Check out who they're supporting this month, who they are, standing behind. Grab some great coffee, support a great cause. And again, when you go out to check out, just type in Beard, save 10% off your first coffee order, and you guys are in for a delicious day as soon as your coffee arrives. So,
delicious.
BUBBZI, I guess we should probably just say, thank you to the sponsors. We appreciate you. We're just glad to be a part of you. We're glad that we're a part of your all's lives and you all are part of ours. And so should we give them the rundown, Bubs? What do you think?
No.
He always says that. It's like, it's in his, I don't know where he learned that stuff. He did not get that from me. Now you can point all you want. You did not get that from We're going to blame it on Mama Beard and leave it at that.
No. We said from the very first episode, my guy, that we're going to be completely honest here. We're going to have to have...
completely honest. I think you got it from Mama Beard.
We're going to have a sit down and discuss your pay, okay? Gotcha. I don't know why I did that voice, and the only thing I can think of the entire time I was doing it is the lady from Monsters Incorporated just, Mike Wazowski, I'm watching you. Always watching.
Let's do it this way. I want to put this out there before I even give you all the title. Well, I'll give you the title, Across the Divide. I have talked to numerous people over the last month or so. And even though the words may be just a little bit different, everybody keeps saying the same thing. They're overwhelmed. They're feeling powerless. They're feeling useless. They're feeling like nobody loves them. Nobody cares about them, that they're separated and that they're going through all this stuff all alone. So I want to give a little disclaimer here. BUBBZI and I, we always try to keep things light. We always try to keep things fun. And we're going to do that with this. But to all fairness to BUBBZI, this is my topic. This is something that I've been thinking about and talking about and praying about with people, like I said, for about the last month and a half. So we're talking about across the divide. What's the divide? It's the things that are dividing us as a country, as a world, as a people, as a family, friends, however you want to say it. So first off, Bubs, let's just look at it this way. What are the things that are dividing us, right? Then we're going to try to look at, are we so easily divided? And then number 3, guys, is how do we overcome the divide? And then number 4 is what happens after we cross the divide?
I think that my goal during this is just to be comedic relief, because obviously it's going to get a little bit heavy. And here's the thing. You're going to throw me on the spot and ask me what divides us. So I'm going to go ahead and answer. Okay?
He acts like he knows me.
You stole my line. I'm taking yours. BUBBZI, what do you think divides us, my guy? All right. First of all, we talked about this earlier. And like I said, my goal here is to be a little bit of comedic relief, but I'm also going to get quite serious because that's just who I am. Joke first, then
guys,
we're going to talk.
We also said this, not that we want things to be fun, We want to make your day better. But at the same time, we cannot just not talk about the actual reality of things. Even though we might try to bring some humor into it, we might try to find a funny way to look at it, or maybe just a different way for all of us to think about it. It doesn't mean that BUBBZI and I can just not talk about the things that are coming or are going on. And that's, like I said, this is me today. This was my topic. BUBBZI was like, well, surely we can, but he loves me and he said, let's go for it.
The whole thing is we promised first episode that the podcast would be 100% real.
Right.
That is, we've had some very deep conversations, I think, outside the topic of time theory, which is very astounding that,
Have you all noticed he tries to throw time theory in every podcast?
Oh my gosh. But I mean, we've had very deep conversations about real life thing. And that's the thing. The podcast is 100% real, 100% honest. We're going to talk about what we think.
It's 100% opinion. It's 100% us.
Right.
All right. This is not us telling you that you have to do anything or that you have to be this way. This is just our opinion on this topic and how we see it.
And the good thing about opinions,
put it in the comments.
Good thing about opinions is opinions can change. If we're wrong, we're happy to learn. I guess
put it in the comments, please. Yeah. If you think we're wrong, just tell us.
But like I said, we are going to start off with a funny moment because we talked about this earlier. Okay, what divides us? All right, who gets the last Philly cheesesteak all the way from Philadelphia? Okay,
well, we'll call it the Philadelphia hoagie, and I'm sneaky and I fight dirty. I'm just saying.
Bro. You can at least split it. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what he's saying. Let me give you a little bit of background to the story real quick. And we don't want to keep you all too long. All right. Because we know when things get heavy, we're going to try to make it move fast, but we talk a lot. That's what we do. We let the rabbits run. You all know that.
I have a large mouth to match the large head. Okay. But that's how it works.
I used to have, I have family that lives in Pennsylvania. My aunt and uncle would come to visit when I was a kid. They would bring what they called a Philadelphia hoagie. And if you haven't had one, I am so sorry because it is one of the best things ever. But they would bring coolers full because they knew that if they didn't and somebody didn't get one, there were going to be hurt feelings and people get mad. I mean, I know it sounds funny to think that a sandwich could divide a family, but let's be honest, stranger things than a sandwich have divided families. Am I wrong?
Stranger things than a sandwich. Like what?
Well, I mean, it doesn't take much. That's kind of, we're talking, like he said, about the things that divide us. And he brought in the funny story about the sandwich. Well, literally, dude, we would have, it's like everybody would come and, I would be hiding sandwiches, to make sure that I had one for later,
I mean, I've fought family over like the last slice of peanut butter pie. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, that's unusual. But what I mean by stranger things is we're supposed to be family. We're supposed to have each other's back no matter what. So if we get divided over a thought process, if you will.
Well, that's a good way of putting that.
An idea or a belief that we have. To me, that's stranger than fighting over a sandwich. I can get fighting over the sandwich because it's a thing. It's in, you can touch it, you can feel it. It's right there in the moment. But if you get mad at somebody because their thought process doesn't match yours and it separates the family, I have a hard time with that. I don't know. I just do. I mean, am I wrong, Bubs? I mean, do you kind of see where I'm going with this?
I think so. Like, the thing is, like, we're saying, oh yeah, maybe, like your brother or sister won't talk to you the night you take the last hoagie, but like they still treat you like family, I guess.
Right.
Whereas like, it's like, oh, I think about this and they think about it the other way. They're like, oh, good. I'm not going to talk to you for 10 years. Goodbye.
Well, I mean, we can, and the things that divide us right now are, well, let's just say it. There are politics. There is religion. There is again, thought processes. You know, I think this way and I think things should be this way, but you don't agree with me, so you must hate me. These are all the things that are dividing us right now, and it's dividing the country, and it's keeping us separated. And honestly and truthfully, in my bearded opinion, and that's all it is my bearded opinion.
The bearded opinion.
It is keeping us isolated from each other, and the more isolated we are, the more divided we become, because we won't think that anybody else thinks that way. So yeah, I talked to someone the other day, Bubs, who, because they do not agree politically with other members of their family, have been told that they are not allowed to come to the house. They are not allowed to come to any family gatherings. They are not allowed to be anything that is a part of the family until they change the way they think.
Well,
anybody else like, wow?
The thing that, and that's the thing that I think is like mind-boggling, is you, just because a certain person thinks or believes something like a certain way, that doesn't completely change who they really are as a person. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, BUBBZI, we've said it before. We agree on a lot. But when we disagree, does that change how you feel about me or the way I feel about you?
No.
No, and it shouldn't. That's what I mean by division. It's.
Now, I will say, we have been very angry at each other a couple times in our lives.
My fault. I'll just say it. My fault.
No.
It probably was, because I'm a stubborn, hard-headed, grumpy old man.
Well, I'm a
English. BUBBZI. Take two.
Man, I'm a stubborn, hard-headed, young-ish man, I guess. I don't know. I'm getting to like a quarter-life crisis here in a little bit.
A quarter-life crisis.
I'm at least making it to 100. Okay? I'm at least making it to 100. I'm too stubborn to die any earlier, all right? Okay, so I get to say that, okay? I'm 23. I'm almost at 25. I'm getting there.
I knew where you were going. I knew where you were going. But that's the thing. I mean, we seem to have a climate in this world that if you disagree with somebody, if you are divided on your opinions,
that it's immediately hate.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
You know, I miss. All right. This may shock you all. Let me get a little here. I'm going to move up so I can get just a little closer to the camera so y'all can see this face. Right? I miss having a good old fashioned opinionated argument with a friend, and we have fun with the argument. We have fun with the opinions, but we still walk away friends.
That's because you were good at it.
I miss, the debates, if you want to call them debates, whatever you want to call. Why do we have to be so on edge with everything these days? Why is everything? Help me, Bubs, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels like everybody seems to feel like everything is life and death. It either is or it isn't. You don't like me. That's not true. I may not agree with your opinion, but I can still like you.
Well, I mean, like, there's things that I don't agree with that people do, or what was it? I'm trying to think. Like, you may not agree with what I do, and you may not agree with the way I think, but that doesn't change that I still think of you as a valid human in person.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like you have the right to an opinion. Yeah,
you just said it. It's like if we disagree, you no longer matter. Or or that person shouldn't matter to you. I mean, guys, ladies and gentlemen, however, friends, family, all that. What are we talking about? These are the things that divide us. We get so caught up in the minuscule that we miss the big things. BUBBZI and I, like I said, we've had some fairly loud arguments. We've had some, fairly heated arguments about things. But it never once did it occur to me to go, well, he's just an idiot. Bye, get out. No, I don't want to see you anymore. Because that's not the way I actually feel about him.
And here's the funny part. We say, very loud arguments. It's not that we're like,
we call it intense fellowship.
like we said, we are very stubborn, hard-headed people. I also have a large head and large mouth. Things just become loud normally, but usually it stays pretty cordial. The problem is if I don't understand something, or if he doesn't understand something, we keep going until either breakthrough happens or we're just like, okay, I'm not getting it. Let's reset.
Did you all hear the masterful piece of knowledge? If he doesn't understand or I don't understand, we keep talking till there's a breakthrough. We don't go, I don't like you anymore. You don't agree with me. So I'm out.
I will
we
say,
don't do that.
I will say there have been third parties who have seen us having such conversations who are very, at some point they're like, why are you continuing? Like,
because
why
we have to?
Why are you still going? And I'm like, because I don't get it. Okay.
Right.
Like,
see, maybe that's the whole thing. Bubs, I mean, because like when I tell people I'm a minister, especially in a social media context, they're like, oh my gosh, he's a minister. He's going to tell us all about Jesus and he's going to force Jesus on us and he's going to be mad. He's not going to like me because I don't think about Jesus the way he thinks. I mean, I've heard it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me say this that religion is one of the things that divide us. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this, and then and if we'll talk about it just a little bit. See, I don't look at Jesus Christ as a relationship. I mean, as a religion, I look at it as a relationship. This is someone I care about and someone I believe cares about me. Now, if I really believe this, why wouldn't I want to tell you? Now, that does not mean that if you disagree with me, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not, it's not that way. Because, you know, if we can talk about it, maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from. Doesn't mean you're going to believe the way I do. It doesn't mean that you're going to suddenly have an epiphany. You could, but you may not. But we can still be friends. We don't have to. We can still be cordial to each other and be civil to each other.
I mean, it's, and like we said this is going to get a little deep anyway.
Right.
Like we're saying. It doesn't matter if he believes one way and you believe another way. Right. You're still a valid human being. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And the Caffeinated podcast will fight on your behalf. But like, you're still human, okay? You get to have an opinion. You get to think the way you are. But that doesn't mean like, boom, I say this, I hate you. That's not how this works.
Exactly. But it does. But here's the other thing. Simply because you don't believe the way I do or think the way I do, if you need my help, doesn't mean that I'm going to go, nope, can't hang around that person. You know, they think this way or that. If you need my help, if it's within my power and my strength to do it, I'm going to help you. Yeah. Because that's part of who I am. It's part of what I believe. If you're able to help, then you help. Doesn't matter what the other person said. Doesn't matter what the other person did. It matters who you are and what you do. Again, we seem to be in a culture right now that if we don't agree, we don't understand, then it must be hate.
Well, it's
now,
almost
if I'm wrong,
like
somebody let me know. That's just the way it feels to me. Again, this is our opinion.
Right? It's almost like people are taking snapshots or like limited sections of somebody's opinion and saying that is their character. That is who they are as a person. Whereas, like, I could say something outrageous and make him hate me because I dislike coleslaw.
I would never hate him. I might hate what he says.
I dislike coleslaw, by the way. That is a legitimate fact.
We can't be friends.
Yeah, that's why he's my father. We're not friends. He's my dad.
Well, but again, there are, I mean, and seriously, we could spend the entire hour or so talking about just what divides us. Because right now I'll just say it. It feels like everything divides us.
Yeah, everything is division.
You know, Friends is better than MASH. Bite your tongue. You know, if you're not a Friends fan, then we can't, you can't do it. You see what I'm saying? I know we're making it a little silly, but people are fighting over everything right now.
Yeah. And the thing is we're using easy subjects to explain what we think is wrong with difficult
subjects.
difficult subjects. I mean, and here's the thing. I have lost friends over what I thought was trivial things. Like, I've lost friends because I, word for word, believe that someone had the right to protest. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I said that if it goes further than that, and then there's like, you're destroying property, you're like, people are getting injured, I said, that's where it needs to stop.
Yep.
I lost friends over that statement.
And there's nothing wrong with that statement because you're correct. It is a constitutional right to protest. It is not a constitutional right to destroy somebody else's stuff simply because you want to destroy somebody else's stuff.
Now, like, if you want to burn your own couch because UK lost a game, fine.
Or won a game for that matter.
Well, I mean they lost last night, so.
Yeah, I don't, see, that's the thing. But when lives and stuff start getting involved, it gets heavy, it gets thick, it's big, because then you have big personalities, big opinions on both sides about things. Now, I don't care what the issue is, and this is my bearded opinion. That's what I'm going to call it throughout this thing. I don't care what the issue is. Do you have the right to protest? You absolutely do. Stand up for people who cannot stand up for themselves. Right? Yes. But the moment that you cross the line and start destroying property or hurting people just because, then you and I we can't be in the same group, because now it's no longer about standing up for them. It's about you being angry and doing something you want to do. My opinion. Right?
Yeah.
Now, again, though, BUBBZI, the next one is, the next thing on our list was, are we easily divided? I think maybe that should come under the context of, are we easily offended nowadays? Do we take offense at just about everything? Because if he says something and I get offended, it's going to separate us, right? The same way with everybody else. You've got comedians. I mean, you've got comedians out there right now that are saying things everybody else is thinking. Now, and they're saying it in the form of a joke. And they're like, well, he just doesn't like his own people. He is this, he is that. He needs to be canceled. We need to get rid of him because he shouldn't be able to say that. Why not? Because you can stand up and say you don't like him. Why can't he stand up and say he doesn't like what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
But we're divided over that stuff because we're so offended at everything.
All I know is I am absolutely
again, in the comments, tell me if I'm
terrified of K-pop stands, okay? 100%.
K-pop stands.
That's where the whole like canceled thing comes from. Is like you're ticking off K-pop stands. Okay, now not gonna lie, some K-pop slaps. Okay, music, it's not 100% like my first choice, but they got some bangers. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
His first choice is some old time rock and roll. Let's be honest.
Yes, we're talking about some nice 80s rock. Now, I'm just like, here's the thing. I listen to a lot of things. I do. Like, we've got rap, we've got EDM, we've got lo-fi. Dude, lo-fi at work.
Yeah.
But nothing beats, just some 80s rock. Maybe specifically Queen. I'm a big fan of Queen.
Come on now.
Considering I call Mama Beard, like, whenever I greet Mama Beard, this is exactly how it goes. Mama. Ooh. That is how I greet my mother.
I've heard that so much that I'm pretty much tired of hearing it. I ain't gonna lie.
Here's the thing. I'm offended.
Well, but see, again, are we so easily divided? Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to put it out there in the comments, whatever, like, share, send it to your friends, whatever you want to do. I'm going to put it out there.
Don't send it to K-pop stands.
I personally think that there are people, and it may be people of power, it may be people of wealth, it may be anybody. I don't know. I just honestly believe that there are people out there who seem to have the job of keeping us fighting each other so that we're not fighting together about the issues that need to be fought for.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I really believe that we're so busy fighting each other. We're so busy fighting that battle that we're missing the war that actually needs to be fought. That's what I think. Now, you all, again, I don't care if you agree with me. I'm not here to tell you that you have to agree with me or you can't watch the podcast. or something like that, that would be dumb, right? I'm just saying, this is my opinion on the way I see the state of things. This is what BUBBZI does. He tells his opinion and how he sees it. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. That's just the way it goes, because he's going to see a different angle sometimes. And he's helped me see things a different way. And hopefully I've helped him see things a different way on occasion.
Well, I mean, if he didn't help me, I probably wouldn't have made it through teenage years. Just let's just say I was an angsty child.
And I don't want to beat this to death too much, because like
True.
I said, we knew it was going to be a little heavy. So we're trying intentionally to not let the rabbits run too far out of bounds today, to keep it to within a certain time frame, because the heavy stuff, you don't need an hour and a half. You don't need all that. We're just getting to the opinion. So again, BUBBZI, if you think I'm wrong, that's cool. You let me know in anything that we talk about anytime ever, that. But for those that are listening or watching, I really want to know, do you think I'm out of bounds? Do you think that because I'm saying we're so easily offended, that's why we're so easily divided? That's what I think. Because if we don't get offended at every opportunity, okay? I mean, all right, let's throw a little politics in here real quick.
Oh, no.
Because this gets everybody offended. And I'm going to blow your all's mind, because I know there's people that watch this. They see the hat, they see the beard, they see the flag, right? Because they do it on TikTok all the time. They come in and throw out a statement, right? I don't care who you voted for. It does not matter to me who you voted for as to whether or not you and I can have an adult conversation and talk about things. It does not matter to me. If you voted your heart and you voted for the person that you thought was best for the job, thank you for voting, because that's what I did. Now, we may not agree on the platforms. We may not agree on the candidates. But as some candidates in the past to say, because I believe a certain way does not make me deplorable, does not make me uneducated, does not make me anything. It just means that for my own reasons, this is what I see, this is what I like. But this country has been divided along those lines for a long time, right? Things have just, I don't know. I don't know how to put it. But why should it matter who I voted for you and I to have a conversation? Because I may learn from you. You may learn from me. But if we don't talk to each other, we can't learn anything. We're going to stay stuck. What do you think, Bubs?
I'm 100% with you. I mean, what I'm trying to say, how would I say this? If no one ever reaches across and talks, both sides are going to stay ignorant to what the other one thinks.
We're going to make assumptions, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that brings us, I mean, seriously, it brings us straight into the next topic, right? How do we cross the divide? How do we stop this from happening? Well, first thing is I have to quit assuming that I know what he's thinking. He has to quit assuming that he knows what I'm thinking. How do we do that? It's called, it's a big word, and nobody uses it much anymore. Is it? Give me a minute. Hang on. Oh, I remember now. It's called communication.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Now, for those that want my definition of communication, that is actually talking to each other instead of talking at each other. It means listening to what the other person has to say, not while formulating your reply and not really listening to what the person has to say.
As a side note, as part of like high funny, but I also do this. Communication also means that you don't sit there for 4 hours formulating the argument you're about to have and coming up with the best response to every single counterpoint that they're going to have, and then going and talking with the person. Right. I do this. I'm sure I know other people who do this. That is not communication.
No.
No,
well, let's put it this way. BUBBZI, you said it, right? Is it communication to plan an argument that you haven't had yet, go in to talk to somebody planning on having an argument? Are you more likely to actually communicate or start an argument?
Right. Well,
right?
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Honestly, it gives me a little bit of a power trip. I'm not gonna lie, because I just imagine like you're walking in, you're like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm gonna say, and then they go with the script that you have in your head. Like, bro, you're like, I read them like a book. I threw scissors when they threw paper. You know.
Well, I've had people look at me when
I'm
we're
just
having
saying.
discussions, and they'll be go, I know exactly what you're going to say. I'm like, dude, that's amazing. I
I
don't
don't know
even know
what I'm
what I'm
gonna
about to
say.
say.
Yeah.
How can you possibly know what I'm about to say? Now, I mean, in all honesty, I'm set in my ways a lot. I'm very stubborn. It's not that you can't change my mind, but you have to have a legitimate argument other than, oh, yeah, or, something like that to change my mind. If we sit down and talk about it, BUBBZI will tell you, if we sit and actually talk about it, there's more chance of you changing my mind than going, well, you don't agree with me. There's no point. Well, the point is, if I don't agree with you, it's educating me because I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you could be wrong. But if we don't communicate each other, that's how we cross the divide. That's how we come back together as a family. That's how we come back together as friends. That's how we come back together in relationships. That's how we come back together as a country and as a world. We have to start communicating to each other and quit assuming that we know everything about somebody simply because of a 10-second blurb on TikTok or Facebook or whatever you may see of them. Or it may be something that come on. How many times have you gotten mad at somebody because somebody told you that you should be mad at them because they did something? I mean, but you don't really know if they did it. I mean, do y'all see where I'm going with this? How do we cross the divide? We quit being. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble, Bubs.
All right. Here's the thing. Talk to the person and don't subtweet. Okay. I love Twitter.
Right.
That's like my main thing. I love looking at Twitter arguments. But the thing is, a lot of that doesn't have to be aired out. Like, I mean, here's the thing. It would make my Twitter experience a lot less interesting. I'm not going to lie. But like, there's definitely some things that could have been easily, like, I'm talking like long beef too. Like, you could have just talked this out.
One actual conversation.
One like, hey, you give them a phone call, you call them on Discord, and like, I'm not talking. Don't text. Like, dude, I've read. Here's the thing. I'm a statistics kind of guy, even though I suck at actually doing.
Especially if it has to do with time theory.
Here's the thing. No. I suck at actually doing statistics, but I love, like looking and reading statistics. They say as far as like communication goes, face-to-face interaction with full body language, 100% communication, because body language tells a lot of things. They say that there's a 25% loss of communication and understanding from doing face-to-face, full body, just to doing a phone call. They say there is a 73% loss of actual communication and understanding compared from face-to-face to texting. That is how ineffective just texting can be, because as we all know, there is not a sarcastic font. Okay, there needs to be one, and I would use it 100% of the time.
Well, and again, we're talking about how to cross the divide. Like I said, one of the things is, well, I almost said it last. I wanted BUBBZI to say his things first. One of the first things we have to do. Notice I said we have to do is we have to stop approaching every piece of information that we get, in my opinion, like a childish human being. Like, oh, well, they don't agree with me. They don't like me, so I'm not going to talk to them. We have to talk to people on the other side. It's the only way to cross the divide. If somebody is doing something or acting a certain way that you don't understand, you cannot assume that you know why they're doing this, or because there may be more reasons to it than you can't even possibly grasp. Being divided and the reasons that we're divided, to me, is not as important at this point in time in our history as to how we get back together. because we are stronger together. BUBBZI, you know this, and I'm going to share this, and I hope nobody zones out on this. But one of my favorite things in Scripture is the armor of God. You know, put on the full armor of God, right? It's one of my favorite things. And see, and I studied it out, and I found out something that I thought was really cool. And this is something that I feel like that a lot of people have missed recently, or it's been hidden behind all the other stuff that's keeping us apart. But when it was written, the Apostle Paul actually used, you know, he had a Roman guard in front of him. He used that description to describe what he was trying to say. But it talks about the shield of faith, the thing that can protect you. Now, it's not talking about an itty bitty shield. This was from, you know, almost neck to feet. You put it in the ground, you could bend out, you were completely covered. But one thing I found out in all this, BUBBZI, was that the soldier standing next to you had a shield just like yours. The only difference was yours might have a hinge or a little place on it like this. His had one like this. And the funny thing is, when you all were fighting in a battle together, they could connect those shields, and it was no longer one little shield. Now it became a bigger shield, and they could do that with hundreds, if not, you know, thousands of centurions. They could make that shield wall, if you will. Why? Because once they connected them together, they became stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, when you and I are connected, when you and I are united, whether we agree on everything or not, if we are like, that is a great human being. They are valid. They are awesome. They are stupendous, whatever you want to say, and they matter no matter what. When we are united for each other, there is nothing in this world that can tear us down. Nothing. Because BUBBZI and I are connected by blood. We're also connected by certain beliefs and stuff like this. BUBBZI and I are stronger together than we are separate. That's just the way it works. Right? Remember, we said it earlier, BUBBZI, that everybody feels like they're all alone. They're going through this. Nobody understands. I guarantee you, if you look out into this world, somebody that has been there, that's going through what you're going through, they've been there, done that, saw the movie, bought the t-shirt. You're not by yourself. You don't have to go through it by yourselves. But as long as we continue to think that we're all alone, it makes us weaker, it makes us more divided, and it makes the things, like I said, the battle that's out there that we're missing goes on while we're nitpicking at each other. What do you think, Bubs? Am I too far out there, babe?
No. And here's the thing. I have a couple friends who listen to this podcast. What up? But
thank you all, by the way.
Yeah, there is a rule, and they've probably heard me repeat this multiple times, because as many of you may know, I've dealt with depression, anxiety, all that stuff. I think a lot of people who probably tune into this have.
Yes.
Okay. I like being there for people. That's one of my, I like doing that. I also like when people are there for me. That's nice. But I have a rule, and I've said this to multiple people, is no one fights alone.
Come on.
That's in everything. I don't care if you're having trouble, like, talking to family members. I don't care if you're having trouble just getting out of the bed for the day. I don't care if you just you're just really sad for that day. You don't have to fight alone. You can talk to me. You can talk to the beard.
That's for sure.
Yeah, no one fights alone. So I like how, like, the interlocking type thing. Like, I get that. Okay, that's who I try to be, just as a person. At least that's what I attempt to do. I sometimes fail at that. Can you imagine
how the culture would be if that's the way we reached out to each other instead of, you don't like me?
Okay. Now, I will say, if I ask you how you're doing and you start to tell me, I'm going to be a little bit worried for you, okay? You know what I'm talking about? Like, you've seen
those, exactly what you're talking about.
Like, yeah, man, I'm good.
Be careful what you ask, right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, man, I'm good. It's just, this is good. Some people are like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm great. And that's the end of the conversation. That's not communication. Okay.
So
I said that as a joke, but that's not communication.
No, it's not. It's
like, if you're actually going through something, reach out to somebody. Say, hey, I need a little bit of help. That's how it works.
I'll just say it. I'm not talking out of school. One of the reasons, we're trying to get this put together tonight is we want you all to understand. We want you all to get this, that you may feel divided. You may feel by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this is just a podcast from a couple of goofy guys from Kentucky.
Hi.
But I mean, honestly and truthfully, if you need to reach out, please leave it in the comment. If you don't mind everybody else seeing it, if you don't want everybody to see it, then if you haven't got TikTok, download TikTok, send it to me in a direct message where only I can see it. And here's the thing: I may not be able to help in any way, but I guarantee you this: I will start lifting you up. I will start praying for you. That's because that's part of who I am. Again, not trying to force the issue on anybody, not trying to force what I believe on anybody. I'm telling you who I am, not who I think you should be at this moment. Okay? We don't do that. It's not my job to convince you. I can just tell you who I am and try to be the best person. We try to help no matter what, if we can. If we can be there for somebody, we do our best. If we can physically do it, then physically do it. If not, then we will spiritually do it. All right? One of the things we're trying to get done tonight is, we're doing this because BUBBZI's running off here in a few minutes to help a friend. Why? Because he's BUBBZI's best friend? Maybe. I don't know. Could be. Or is it just because he's got a friend and there's a friend in need? He's going to help somebody because they need the help. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, as we get ready to kind of wrap up anyway, and of course we were talking about like, hey, you don't want to be easily offended. If I say Merry Christmas, okay, I know people are like, oh, you need to say Happy Holidays. Shoot, if I mess up and I say Merry Christmas and they don't celebrate Christmas, I hope I get like a Happy Hanukkah back. Like it's not, oh, this is what I said. It's what I meant. Okay, I'm hoping that you have
my beliefs are better than yours, and if you don't agree with me, we're going to be mad at each other.
Like, dude, I'm just wanting you to have like a nice holiday. Like, I hope you're safe when you're traveling. I hope that your flight isn't delayed for 5 hours worth of snow. Like, be safe,
So let's look at it like this. We've talked about, are we easily offended? How do we cross the divide? However you want to say it. How do we overcome the divide? Well, again, the first thing honestly and truthfully, the best thing is we have to communicate with each other. We have to talk to each other. And I'll take it one step further. We have to value each other. Whether we agree with each other or not, we have to value. Your opinion of me does not invalidate me. My opinion of you does not invalidate you. My opinion of your politics, your opinion of my politics, and so forth and so on, does not make me any less or you any less. What does that is us using that as a weapon to divide.
I mean, if you think about it, in fact, you having differing opinions from another person just makes you more human, okay?
I'm sorry, guys, but I think this world would be really boring if everybody agreed on absolutely everything. It's just, but we don't have to agree to be friends. We don't have to agree to be companions. I don't have to agree with everything you do to go, hey, man, this is part of who I am. Is it okay if I pray for you? And here's the thing. If that offends you, then tell me, and I won't. Just tell me. Because, I'm not out to offend. We're out to lift up. We're out to help people be stronger. Remember, we're better together than we are separate. So what comes next, Bubs? After we've overcome the divide, what comes next? We start reaching out.
Why do you have to put me on the spot?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, what comes next? We start reaching out. We start lending a helping hand. We start helping the neighbor who may not think like we do, carry in their groceries. We start not just overcoming the divide. Now we're crossing the divide to make sure that that divide doesn't get big ever again. I don't know what kind of comments we're going to get on this podcast, Bubs. I don't know if anybody is going to agree with me or you or think that we're completely out of our minds, which they probably think that most podcasts anyway. But what a different place we would be if we cross the divide and look someone in the eye and said, what can I do to help? Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter who you follow, doesn't matter who you voted for, Doesn't matter what music you listen to. No, I mean, and again, the list could be endless. But what if we just started valuing each other as much as we value ourselves? What if we started taking a little bit of the love that we want for ourselves and sharing it with somebody else? Because I'm going to let everybody in on a little secret. And BUBBZI, then I'm going to give you a minute and I'll give my closing thoughts. Okay. Because I know we need to get out of here.
I think
what
we're
if
hitting
we
just
started
at,
sharing
like,
that love simply because we wanted to share it? And here's the thing, the more you give away, the more you're going to have to share. You cannot give it all away. And every time we help somebody else, every time we lift somebody else up, it's us that gets the blessing. It's us that gets the benefit. When we help somebody else be stronger, it in turn makes us stronger, right? It's that pay it forward kind of mentality. People have lifted us up. People have touched our lives. They've reached out and did that. They've shown us the way, if you will. And all we have to do is help somebody else see the way. We live in a great country. Whether you like it or not, I'm sorry, it's a great country. I'd rather live here than anywhere else because there's so many other things going on around the world that we don't hear about in the detail that we should. But we've forgotten that everyone matters, that everyone is special, that everyone has a voice, everyone has an opinion, and an opinion is just that. It's an opinion. It does not mean that I hate or love or whatever. It just means it's my opinion on a particular subject. So guys, I know that we got a little deep. Didn't go actually as deep as I was afraid it might go, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I think that was probably because earlier this week, and like I said, I was like, okay, we have to be like, I thought that the subject was good. The idea of it was, I think, well placed, but I was like, we have to be careful, because that's the other thing is, like we were talking about, is there's a lot of hate right now.
Right.
Okay.
And this podcast might very possibly could get some. I mean, and it's okay.
Well, and see,
we're not everybody's cup of tea, y'all.
But like I said, the podcast is going to be 100% real. That means if we're going to talk about a real subject, you're going to get real opinions, real thoughts. We're not going to shy away. Now, like I said, we try to keep it light. We try to keep it funny. We use lighter subjects to try to explain deeper subjects. But in no shape, form, or fashion should anyone come out of this podcast not understanding that you are valued, you are loved, you are deserving of love, and you should not be invalidated by what other people say.
And you're amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Don't let somebody pull you. Don't let us. And when I say this, take it this way. Don't let a stupid thought, not that you're stupid, but don't let a stupid thought or a stupid idea separate you from those that love you.
Right.
Because we just can't talk about it. Yes, you can. You just haven't figured out how.
Okay.
Because you're not listening to each other. You're really not. If it's come to that point, you're talking at each other and not to each other.
Yeah.
Right?
So, like I said, I mentioned earlier that we have to be kind of careful with how we talk about this, because obviously that's the whole point of the podcast. We don't want hate. That's the one thing we don't want here. That's not the space for this. Okay.
No.
That's why in TikTok lives or things like that we do is like, hey, if you're hating on something, you disagree with that, like, hey, disagreements are fine, but if you start throwing threats and things like that, like, that's not okay.
Of any kind, you're gone.
Like,
I mean, that's the thing.
But the whole thing about this is love. Okay,
right.
If you're talking to somebody without an ounce of love, you're not going to do nothing. Okay.
I'm telling my age here, Cole Bubs, because I have this song in my head by Caffeinated Neil going, love will keep us together. And it's the truth. I think
maybe we talked for an entire hour when the whole thing we just need is people need to love other people more.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that was the whole thing. We need
to be loved. We need to share love. We need to receive love. but we can't do that if we're separated.
Yeah.
We have to be together. We have to have some form of unity. We have to cross that divide, that thing that's gotten in between us and that unity. We have to go across that.
Now, I will say, he's thinking of that song. The only song I've thought of the entire time throughout this thing, because every time he mentions divide, is Linkin Park, New Divide. I'm just saying, okay,
Gotcha.
I have scenes from Transformers popping up in my head. It's been fantastic. Okay, we've hit really deep subjects. All I've been thinking about is that song and subjects. Okay,
well,
that's how this
guys,
is gone.
Let's do this. We want you all to understand how much you mean to us, because you come, you watch, you come, you listen. I was telling BUBBZI that we're just like 8 views total, audio and video, of being 5,700 views. Do you know how crazy that is for us? You all have done that. And you know where I'm going with this. I say it every episode. If you've been with us this long, if you stayed with us this far, from this time until the next time, welcome to the family. We don't say that lightly, because we actually think of this podcast as our podcast, not just his and mine, but yours and mine and his and theirs. And we inviting you into. So, really, from this time, thank you for being a part of our family. Thank you for uniting with us. Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for praying with us when you think about it. Thank you for just thinking about us and throwing good thoughts. Whatever your thing is, thank you for that. But from this time till the next time, know this: you never fight alone, because you are part of this family. So if you need to find me on TikTok, it's The Caffeinated Beard. I'm also on Instagram, The Caffeinated Beard. Leave a comment, like, share, do all that stuff here. Let us know that you liked it. Let us know that you didn't. That's fine too. Subscribe to the podcast and let us talk with things with you from now on. But reach out and find us if you need somebody. And as soon as I can, I'll answer it if at all possible. And so will BUBBZI. BUBBZI, give your social and let's head us out.
And if you're wondering what we mean by family, we have an episode on that. I don't know why I'm plugging the podcast on the podcast, but I've been told
that's what people do.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm plugging one of the other deeper subject podcasts. True. But brief synopsis, or no, not synopsis. Thank you, gosh. But
BUBBZI, English, take 2.
This is like take 17 of like this podcast alone.
I love you, Bubs.
I love you too. But family is things you get to choose. Me and him are blood. That's obvious. But there's been a lot of blood relationships that never work out. Okay?
Right.
That happens. But you get to choose who your family is. We choose you. Hopefully you choose us. We love you. We appreciate you. You can find me and talk to me. Do whatever you gotta do at It's BUBBZI. That's ITSBUBBZI. That's, I think, on everything. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Right.
I don't know. Twitch, I guess. I don't know.
Follow him on Twitch. He needs them. Go for it.
I guess. But I guess, what, closing thoughts? God, why can't I think today? You're loved. You're appreciated. You're awesome. We're gonna say that again.
You matter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's a big one. You matter.
Right.
But for one cup of joe to another, this has been the Caffeinated Podcast. Peace.
See ya.
Later.